my screen. Guys, this is part of the call that you definitely want to take notes on. So we have, let's go here. Boom. Can you guys see my screen okay right now? The field training?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, guys. So guys, this is we live in a business that's beautiful because we can plagiarize the top people in our business. Okay, so this is actually a field training part from Aaron Stolp. So most of you who's been here for 6 months or longer know who Aaron Stolp is. If you guys were in Dallas, Aaron Stolp is he is in Transparent Financial, and Transparent obviously is the #1 agency for many years in a row now here at Family Heritage, and he's the top guy in Transparent. So Aaron Stolp is going to be the agency owner. He's going to be promoted to agency owner at the end of this year. He actually could have been promoted last year, but wanted to hold off 1 extra year just to kind of really grow his business and get it to a certain size. So he's going to be agency owner at the end of this year. He's only been here 4 years. So that's the crazy thing. Aaron Stolp has only been here for 4 years, which is not that long. It took me 6 years to become agency owner. Okay, so he's doing what I did in 4 years. So that's super impressive. So Aaron, he talked on our vision team call a few weeks ago about field training. And you guys, this is what Transparent uses. So Aaron's one of the best field trainers in the entire company since day one that he's been here. So he has always sold at a high level, and his team sells at a very high level because they see their managers sell at a very high level. So this is the recipe. This is exactly their field training schedule the first 3 days. We tell everybody, the first 3 months of your career is the most important. And really the first few days of your career is the most important. So making sure that you're doing the activities, the new agent, making sure that they're doing the right activities, but also the manager, whoever has trained them, they're also doing the right activities the first few days. So this is exactly what, if you're ever going to grow a team, or if you're a new agent, this is the activities that you should be doing your first few days, just to make sure that you're doing the deal so you can be successful here. So this is the exact outline that he uses, and all the Transparent Financial, they all use this exact same outline, and so do we. So thank you, Aaron Stolp, for letting us share this morning. So this is day 1. So make sure you guys take notes on this. I can also email this out, but you definitely want to engage yourself and don't just listen to the call, but take notes, because that's how it's really going to sink into your DNA, is if you physically write down these things as you hear them as well. So let's start with day 1. So the first day, obviously the new agent and the manager, they're both probably going to be a little bit anxious. I know I'm always nervous whenever I'm field training somebody. I'm nervous before every day, to be honest. Okay, it's good to be nervous when you're focused on service. So when you're prepping for the day, you just really have a good chat with the person when you're right there in the car. So make sure, number 1, that if you're field training somebody, you show up early. Okay, you want to beat them to the spot of the first business. Okay, you never want to be late. That is, managing 101. So, and tell them, hey man, today may be an awesome day. It may be a bad day. We may protect every single person that we talk to. We may have a 0 day. We cannot control that. All we can control is the attitude and effort. So today, we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to leave everybody in a better mood than we met them, and we're going to focus on just getting better with each person that we talk to. So our goal today is to get, 10 calls or 2 demos per goal period. Okay. So if you've been here for a week, you know exactly what a goal period is, because they talk about this in sales school. Okay. And we all get goal cards sent to us from Nicole Danwood. So you all have a big stack of goal periods in your car. Okay, so we get these, once a week, you put all your stats on a goal card sheet on a weekly basis. Okay, so one of the first things that we do, and this is exactly what they do as well, guys, is they get their new agent set up on the Voxer chat. Okay, so Schneider agencies or the Protect One Family Voxer chat, get them signed up, add them to the chat right away. And just talk about, this is what we do. This is how we communicate as an agency during the day. It's all about good news. Okay. And then make sure that before you start, that you cover these 3 things with them, that there's 3 things that we can give the new agent. We can give them our time, we can give them our money, and we can give them our knowledge. Okay. So when he talks about money is either giving them an application or a bonus. And it's important, but it can also be spent very quickly. Okay. It goes by quickly. Money just, you don't have $100 for the rest of your life. You're eventually going to spend $100 that you give them. or however big of a bonus that you give them, that's eventually going to go out the window at some point. Okay. You can also give people your time. So, and guys, the trainers. So if you're new, your trainer probably makes over $100 an hour when they're selling for themselves. Okay. Some people make $200 an hour. Some people make $300 an hour. We got some very talented people in the Davenport and Schneider agencies. So make sure that, like, hey man, I make $250 an hour. I'm going to dedicate 8 hours of my time to you today because I believe in you. So take my time seriously and use it to learn my knowledge. I've been here for 4 years, or I've been here for 8 years, whatever, however long you've been here. I got 4 years of experience to know what works and what doesn't work. But you can either take it all in, and then when you need it, not have anything to pull from, or you can take detailed notes. That way, when you need something, you can revert back to it. Okay, so we're going to give you the keys to the kingdom day one. I'm going to share this with you, and whatever you do with it is up to you. You can either take it and make the most of it, or you can choose to steal it and not do anything with it. However, if it's just stolen, not continue to give it. Okay, that is not good. Just taking information and not doing anything with it. That's not going to help anybody out. And then also show them on how to prep for the goal period and how to use the goal card. Okay, just making sure that they know that, hey, a contact goes in this line, a demo goes in this spot, a sale goes here, referrals, businesses, enrollments, all that stuff. And just focus on just, one thing technical and one thing emotional. So like, hey, we're going to focus on just getting 10 calls this goal period. We're going to focus on having a great attitude, right? So the first approach, when you walk into the first business, it's probably going to be 9 a.m. at this point, because we were on the Zoom call at 8 to 8:30. You're meeting with them for a few minutes. So 9 a.m. is probably the first time that you're walking into a business. So from 9 to 10, make sure that they do the first approach their very first day. They are super nervous. The best way to get over those nerves is to watch them do the very first approach. Okay, it's okay if they blow it. It doesn't matter whatsoever. It's funny. We got some funny stories of watching people. I know my first approach was terrible. Okay, and just have help. It helps them realize on what they need help with. Okay, and just let them know, one good thing that they did and one thing that they need to work on. So, hey man, that was great. This is one thing they did great, and this is one thing that you need to work on. Okay, and make sure that whether they're doing a demo or a bad approach or a great approach, don't barge in. Let them do the full approach. Okay, it needs to be 100% them. And that way you're setting the tone that when they need your help, you're not going to save them. Okay, we're going to build your foundation. We cannot perfect everything at once. Okay, it's going to be piece by piece. Rome was not built in a day. Okay, so all we want you to focus on this first goal period is the pace, how fast you go in between businesses. So if you're leading, guys, they're watching you as their manager, as their leader. They're watching you on how fast you go in between businesses. So making sure that you have that sense of urgency. You're not just sitting in your car on social media in between businesses. Okay. Who's next? Whenever you leave a business, you're thinking, who's next? And you're listing off the next business and the next business that you just talked to. Okay. Making sure that you're using Sales Rabbit. You're showing them on how to use Sales Rabbit and actually putting in notes on the businesses. Okay. This is crucial. They will learn this, or they will be all over the place in their town. If they don't know how to use Sales Rabbit, they will be business hopping like crazy. They will not be working the territory type. Okay. And then also it's important how they see you coach yourself in between businesses. What's one thing that we did well? What's one thing that we need to work on? And that way it teaches them to self-coach and focus on progress and not perfection, but also to catch themselves doing things right. Guys, we are not perfect. You're leaders. We will mess up just as much as you are. We are not perfect either. The good news about being in the insurance business is that you can mess up 80% of the time and still be wildly successful. That's one of the reasons why I chose this career. There's a lot of sales jobs that if you mess up, then you're fired. Well, here, you're not going to be fired. Okay, you can mess up over 80% of the time and still be very, very, very successful. So it's okay. Just whenever you do something good, celebrate the wins and just learn from the losses. Okay, so let's go to 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. This is day one. So from 10 a.m. to 12, focus on the approach. Okay, if you don't have your approach down, nothing else matters, because you will not get to the other cycles of the sale unless you have a great approach. So making sure that your approach is slow and low. If you feel like your approach is too fast, it's definitely too fast. If you feel like your approach is okay, pace-wise, it's still too fast. If you feel like your approach is really slow, then it's the right speed. Okay, some of you guys just talk way too fast in the first approach. I'm naturally a very fast talker. So this was something I had to really focus on my first year, was talk very slow in the first approach. It was very, very, very hard for me to do that, but it's extremely important to slow down because this is the first time they've ever heard your approach. Okay, also focus on assumptiveness, personability, just being personable with each person. Okay, just making sure that they know that you're a human, and then asking for a place to sit down confidently. Okay, not asking if they have a few minutes to check out what you do. That's the worst. The last part, the last line of the approach. I apologize. I only get a few minutes. Do you have a place where we can sit down? Some people say this and it never works. Ms. Jones, can you take a few minutes and check out what I do? Nope, that will never work, ever. You will never get a sit down. You have to ask it, Ms. Jones, I apologize, I only get a few minutes. Do you have a place where we can sit down? Okay, that's why it's written word for word. That is a very important part of the first approach. Okay, and to making sure that you're actually using the names of the people that you just spoke with. Okay, how to ask for the business owner or manager. Okay, how to transition to the employee if the manager or owner isn't there. So this is kind of like a read option play. So if you're playing football, you're either going to pass the ball or throw the ball. So when we go into a business, we're either going to sit down with the employee right in front of us, or we're going to ask for the manager. Okay, so knowing on when to do this and when not to do that. So obviously, if it's a medium to bigger size businesses, we're almost always going to try and talk to the manager first instead of just demoing the person at the gate, right? And sometimes you go into a business that's very small, the manager's not there, then we transition to showing it to the employee that we're sitting down with. Like, hey, I don't mind coming back and talking to the manager, but real quick, I'm just going to give you the overview of what we do real fast. Boom, and then you demo them right on the spot. Okay, how to transition into doing that. Okay, because we always go into a business with the goal of protecting the business, not just setting up an enrollment. If all you do is go in there trying to sit down with the manager and that's it, then you're going to be missing out lots of sales opportunities. You got to go into the business with the mindset that, yes, we can definitely talk to the manager or the office manager if they're there, but if they're not there, we're still going to show what we do to the next person in line. It could be just be the cash person. It could be the cash register. It could be somebody else who's working on the floor. It could be anybody. You got to have that mindset. Okay. And then there's lunchtime, first day. So he actually meditates during lunchtime, which is very important. I started doing that within the last year. Downloaded a couple apps you can download, Headspace, Calm, and guys, it's great to meditate for 5 or 6 minutes. I know Transparent is very, 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 very big on meditating at least once per day. It works, guys. If you try it out, meditating, it clears your head. Okay, we talk to a lot of people. If you talk to a lot of people and don't spend time, meditating, then by the end of the day, you can have that like headache that's kind of built into your head. This will help clear and help you be mentally clear on a daily basis. Okay, and then you can refocus on the next goal period. Okay, so goal period from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. This is your second goal period. All we want the new agent to focus on is building rapport. Okay, building rapport and asking those questions once we sit down. Okay, and sometimes people, they don't know what questions to ask or how to do this. So we show them. And guys, these questions, they're all in our sales talk. Okay, so these aren't questions that you have to think of. So if you're new on this call, they're all in the sales talk. How long have you worked here? What did you do before this? Are you originally from here? Perfect. What high school did you go to? Get to know them a little bit. Start connecting the dots. And then, are you married? You have a family? You have kids? Boom. Guys, these are very, very simple questions. That way, they know that we're not just a salesperson, that we're actually getting to know them. Okay, they are the most important person that you're talking to. People love talking about themselves. So before we dive in and start talking about cancer insurance, we want to get to know them a little bit, okay? And these questions help go from vague about businesses to helping focus on them personally. And then we ask the question, so who's the closest person that you know, could be a friend, family member, acquaintance who's gone through cancer, right? You ask that question right there. And then we start asking this follow-up questions. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. What kind of cancer do they have? How long do they have it? And you ask those follow-up questions afterwards. And then from 2 to 3 o'clock, you focus on building the need. Okay, focus on how to go over the stats page, page number 1 and page number 2, how to go over the indirect and direct cost page, making sure that they know this is not health insurance, and then going over the critical questions 1 and 2. And guys, if you're ever doing a demo, you have to ask the critical questions every single demo, or else it's not a demo. Okay, critical question 1, if you couldn't work for 6 months to a year, how would that affect you and your family financially? Okay, and then there's follow-up questions you ask after that. And then there's critical question 2 on the next page. As of right now, Mrs. Jones, other than using your savings, do you have a backup plan now to take care of all these indirect costs right now? Making sure your new agent has to see you ask these questions every single time, because the critical questions are highlighted in your sales talk for a reason, because they are the most important questions that we ask. So, and then towards the end of the day, we start focusing on the buying atmosphere. So from about 3 to 5 o'clock in the afternoon on day 1, we start focusing on the buying atmosphere, how that's a part of the sales talk that we go very slow. That's the most important part. It's the most technical part of the entire sales cycle, is the buying atmosphere. It is the most important thing that you do absolutely word for word. I mean, you should do the whole thing word for word, but buying atmosphere is, you have to do it word for word or else it will not work. Okay, we slow down, we turn the iPad off, just click the top part of the iPad that turns the screen off, so they're looking at you face to face, eyeball to eyeball. And we will not go past the buying atmosphere. You will not go to the next page until they answer yes or no on making a decision today. And why that's important is taking the pressure off them. Because if we don't do this, then you're putting a lot of pressure on them at the end of the presentation to make a yes or no decision. And nobody likes to be pressured. People hate making decisions and hate being pressured. So that's why we do a buying atmosphere, is to take the pressure off Mrs. Jones. And then that way we can draw out the objections. And then we figure out if they can make their own decision without talking to their spouse. And we get that objection out right now, and not 30 minutes later when we're done getting the account number. They're like, oh, wait, yeah, I got to talk to my husband before I sign up for this. You're going to get that 100% of the time if you don't get that objection knocked out right now during the buying atmosphere. Okay. And then from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock, we turn it back over to them where they're going to finish the day. And the goal for that last hour is to do 5 calls or 1 presentation, and just helping them get out of their comfort zone and just get used to going business to business and who's next mentality. Okay. And we were constantly encouraging them, guys. One of the biggest things is you're encouraging them. One good thing, one thing to focus on. Okay. Then at the end of day 1, we recap the day, what they learned, how to enter stats, how to FHL Connect, how to order brochures, how to do fit training, how to go to the website. Our website is called protectonefamily.com, how to do the homework. So it says give homework each day. We actually already have the first 30 days of homework. So if you're in your first 30 days, you were supposed to do about an hour's worth of homework last night. You don't have to do homework the rest of your life, but your first 30 days is very important because we want you to go through your growth phase very, very quickly here. Okay, then day 2, just follow up with them. Make sure you inspect what you expect. Like, hey man, how was your homework? How was the audio that you listened to by Kia Alchema? I love that audio. What did you learn from that? You were supposed to study your buying atmosphere. How is that going for you today? Whatever it is, just follow up with them and make sure that you make sure that they did their homework. And then you show them on how to do follow-ups. Usually in the morning, you don't always have to go straight back to cold calling because, you should have a couple hours worth of follow-ups to do. If you do the job the right way, every day you're following up with either referrals or businesses that weren't there or the manager wasn't there. So show them on how to do follow-ups. That's a great way to start the day. And we start the day right where we ended the day. So you should always know when you end a day where you're starting the next day. Like you should literally have at least 5 businesses kind of written down and just just crystallize in their brain, like, oh, I know exactly where we're starting at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Okay, I know exactly the first 5 businesses that we're going to walk into. Then after that, you may have to break in some new territory. You may have 5 follow-ups, and then you may have to start going back to breaking in some new territory, which is totally okay. Okay, and making sure that they know how to work the territory tight is very important on day 2. Just go business to business, and that we go really quickly through the benefits. So that the part of the presentation that we speed up is when we're actually covering the benefits. $6,000 cash upfront, $800 a day, we don't spend a lot of time on that. We spend maybe 2 minutes on the actual demo. We spend all the amount of time building the need, the buying atmosphere, and the transition to close and price build up, but we don't spend much time on the actual demo because that's a very simple part. Okay, just give them a couple scenarios, a couple examples, and then we turn it back over to them. Okay, let them break in some new turf, and then constantly asking, what do you feel like you're doing well? What is one thing that you feel like you need to work on? What is one thing that you need to do to improve? So it's called the compliment sandwich. Give them a couple things that they're doing well, one thing that they need to do to work on. Okay, constantly asking the questions. It doesn't need to be a 10-minute conversation. It could be a 2-minute conversation. Okay. Then at the lunchtime, same thing. Meditate, get focused on the second part of the day, have a new goal for the second part of the day. And guys, there's a lot of other stuff. I'm not going to cover every single thing for the first 3 days, but day 2 and day 3 is very similar to what day 1 was. Okay. But just making sure that they're watching you use your goal card, using the goal card, keeping track of your stats, going business to business to business. Towards the ending part of second day, I will go over this. It talks about trial closing questions, making sure that they see you asking, so Mrs. Jones, what do you like the best about it so far? Do you like the fact that it pays cash directly to you or that it covers so much? Okay, this is not the close. This is way before the close. At the end of the cancer demo, ask the trial closing question. There's a lot of people that skip that for some reason, and that's a very, very, very important question. Okay, so go through that and then do the price build up, a very, very big effective price build up. And then we go through the prices. We're like, hey, that's not bad, is it? Instead of being $1,200 a month like health insurance, it's just, $95 a month for the entire family. Mrs. Jones was saying, she spends out on just getting dinner once a week, or she spends that on just her son's football cleats, last week for football season, or whatever it is, and belittling the cost and then going directly into the return of premium page. Okay. And it talks here at the end of day 2, focusing on the close word for word, the what, why, how, asking those critical questions. What do you like the best about it? Why is that important for you? How will that affect your family? And those are different questions. Okay. 3 different questions you have to ask in the transition to close, or else you're not doing the close the right way. Some people fumble the football on the 1-yard line. They get all the way, they march all the way down, doing a great demo, and then they fumble at the end because they don't do a very good confident transition to close. Making sure that you have a very confident transition to close, you're asking those 3 critical questions back to back to back. What did you like the best about it? Was it the peace of mind, security, or a combination of both? Why is that so important for you? How would that make you feel knowing that you would have this, but also in the fact that if you just stay healthy, you're going to get all your money back, and making sure that they see you do this repetitively by the book is very important. You guys, day 3, this is the last page. It's making sure that they see you work a full day. You're actually going to watch them most of day 3 as well, business to business, getting them outside of their comfort zone. And even when they're frustrated, they need to get in the habit of just to keep going and just keep going to the next closest business. Okay, and taking notes on the businesses, making sure that they're good at building rapport, using names of the people that they've seen from day 1 and day 2, that they're actually implementing the names that they've actually seen, meditating at lunchtime, getting loud on Voxer, spreading some good news on Voxer. And then the last thing right here, there's 4 steps to being successful with field training. So you probably want to write this down and then we'll close this call. Step number 1 is working with intention, being purposeful, having intensity, a 2 out of 3 day or a 3 out of 3 day every single day. So if you don't know what a 2 out of 3 day is or 3 out of 3 day, you're probably haven't gone out of sales school yet, but you'll definitely know what those are here really soon. So making sure that it's not a day until you do that. Okay, don't develop bad habits early. Get a 2 out of 3 day every single day. Number 2, good communication. Make sure that when your leader is not working with you, that you speak with them every single day. Your first 90 days, you're supposed to call your leader every single morning. Your direct report, your field director, your market director. It may be your agency owner. Okay, whoever it is, but you're supposed to speak with them every single day and build those relationships. That's how whenever you're frustrated, how you're going to make it through is by talking to us. Number 3 is one thing that we should also do is show them on how to use the resources and why it's important. We have so many tools available. We have almost too many tools available to us. We have the FHL Connect. We have Legacy Stat Site. We have ProtectOneFamily.com. We have SoundCloud audios. We have audios galore that we can send out. We have homework assignments. Guys, we have fit modules. We have everything. But we got to make sure that they know on how to use these and why they're important to do them. You don't have to spend, 8 years every day doing homework, but it's very important when you first start here that you dive into these resources early and get your skills up fast. Now, last thing is just sacrifice. Remember that it's going to be worth it and why it's worth it. It is worth it. Yeah, I think that every person that's on this call that's been here for a year or longer, yeah, it wasn't always easy, but they will tell you that it's very worth it. Okay, and same thing for you guys, for all the new people on the call. So, guys, that was pretty much it. That is a field training outline. That was from Aaron Stolp, guys. That was thank him if you ever see him. He will actually be visiting our Charlotte office here in about a month or so. Super pumped for him to come in town. I'm actually he's here to follow me, but I'm actually going to learn more from him. So super pumped. He is an awesome guy. We'll be seeing him in Mexico, and yeah. So guys, making sure that you use what you learned today, and let's go have a big Thursday, guys. The week is halfway over, so it's Thirsty Thursday today. We have Thursday, Friday. Some people will be out there probably working a little bit on Saturday as well. This is the first week of the month, and it's a 5-week month. So it is very important to get ahead of your goals so we can pad the stats. 5-week months only come around once every quarter. There's a lot of people here that are a little bit behind for the Mexico trip, but they will be winning the Mexico trip. And it really starts with making sure the first week of the month, you have a massive first week, just a lot of activity. So let's go make things happen, guys. Let's be a blessing, and let's be the best field trainers that we can be. And let's go lead from the front. All right, guys. Have a great day.